Good morning, everyone. Boy, things happen fast in this market. Well, they always go down faster than they go up, and so it's going to start, as you can see, considerably lower and right on support, right? So rather than kind of taking a few days to go down there, going to get down there on a big gap, right down into that little area I got marked there, little green area there at this price support, but let's just open this up because in reality, it doesn't mean it has to stop there. I was just, when I put that there, I was marking the two areas right here. So it could come obviously down to here. That would be a pretty big move for one day. And you got, take into consideration the gap as if it was a whole bar, which is essentially what the futures will show. While we look at them, it's already down here at the top of the area, but could come down. I don't think it'd get down to 410 today. That's just a thought. It certainly has the room, since you can see the gap and the void there. And so prices are, you can see the cursor right down there, right? At that swing low right there. Oh, and it started out last week. We talked about this kind of becoming like a head and shoulders top, and different degrees of a bearish turn as you look at different indices. Some were more of a breakout, like the transports that were the range expansion, and then the gap under it, which was much more bearish. Where this one was kind of chopping around, and then Friday gapped underneath it and started the move down. Anyway, another concept we talked about last week was sideways price action, and how sideways might it be in this area before going lower. So, basically, let's call it 4 days, 4.5 days up here, and then the gap below it, leaving this area of congestion. And of course, where's it going to go? How low is it going to go? Well, of course, that's yet to be seen. Step by step, we look at the first area. Now, well, the way this market went up, this comes back to our concepts of how prices trend. Do they trend? Sometimes they trend in a self-correcting type of uptrend where they're really choppy and overlapping bars that leave many congestion areas. And sometimes they move up with momentum. And that kind of momentum doesn't leave anything. Right? The idea of a void. So what we have, right? And how does it happen? So when it starts from a low, that's like igniting. That's, bullish. And then here we had another one pushing up into resistance, and that could have set up a pullback, but it went sideways. That was bullish. And now you've got another push up, right, with the gap and pushing up into that resistance. So that was like the third momentum move. So now as prices are down here, right, they're down here, right here now, and that's why we're looking at this congestion area. And I assume that it'll hold this area today, since it's the first move down there. Buyers probably going to show up by 10 o'clock or whatever, trying to bounce it up. Or excuse me, maybe right at the open to go up into the gap fill. We'll see. But as we progress into this week, unless it has a sizable move higher, once it enters here, it opens up the door to coming all the way down there because there's nothing to stop it. Again, we have to get past today and this area here, but once below here, it could be, a pretty quick move down here. McGraw sharing me gamma calculation for support today, 4110. Oh, let's get to that. Give it a second. McGraw, those things usually line up with support, but it's good stuff. Okay, so here's the futures right at the 20 and the top of that little congestion there. So looking at this area today, right, since it's a nice size sideways congestion for about a week and a half. Absolutely, McGraw. That's a whole part of what MTS is built on, confluence of multiple concepts. And whether it's relative strength and weakness and support and resistance and intermarket analysis and all that. And now, the open interest, gamma, kind of interesting all stuff, putting it all together. All right, so you can see where they're at there on the 60-minute chart, and the cursor obviously is right at the top of what we would refer to as minor support within this upward move. And so the depth of retracement, as we look at this and say, okay, we're ultimately, let's say things get really out of hand today on the downside, where they might go, where buyers would feel relatively confident, and that's down here. And so McGraw's saying, so for those in YouTube, gamma calculation for support today is at 41.10. Lo and behold, look to the left, the futures. So as we go and look at SPX, which is what he's talking about, not the futures, 41.10. And so this gap fill is 41 and a quarter. 41.10 is at the bottom of the support area there. So obviously down here, if I drag this down here, right, into this area, and so they're at the 20 based on where the futures are at in SPY, give or take right around here. 4100, big support, bottom of this congestion. Gamma, however they calculate that, 41.10, open interest levels, I guess at different expirations. Anyway, 41.10 is lined up with support. And so again, now looking at SPX and what might be safe. So as prices go down as they are, premiums pop. And so now they're getting big. And Jacob's sharing at me 42.35. He's looking for the home run today. big premium there. It could work, Jacob. That's juicy as hell. $1.90 by $2, but I think 41.20 is the no-brainer. That's still relatively juicy, 80 by 85. And if you want to go even further, I mean, you can go 41.15. And if prices dip down, at the open here a bit, that could get, moving up. So everything's a choice. And so looking at 41.35, 41.35. Let's see where that's at. Should have allowed me to paste that. Anyway, I'll do it here. I think that's too close for comfort. I mean, it's near the bottom of the range there, but obviously your choice. I think getting down below the 20 and into that area, 42.30. Oh, up above. Oh, I'm a little dyslexic this morning. 42.35. 42.35. Uh, 42.35. That's like, well, look, it's more aggressive, but it's opening here, and that would be the gap fill. So that should be like the extent of where it could go. But in reality, look, what we want to see here, because of the turn and everything we've been talking about, is it doesn't fill the gap. But hey, of course, that could happen. It's opening here would be a pretty big retracement to fill the gap. There is congestion there, so you do have a line of protection or defense there. It probably wouldn't get over it, but being above that area, would probably be best above 42.40 or 42.45, which is no premium. There's no premium up there. So look, it went down. We can get really deep down below there and get decent premium. Totally makes sense. Steep angle. As far as saying, even if it bounces at the open, it's a steep angle buy setup for a swing. Oh, this is not even considered as a swing buy. Not in a million years. Even if even if it went down there and retraced back up, it's such a large range. It would take time for it to settle down. So, assuming it does get down there, and just based on this depth of retracement, it might hang here for a few days, and then ultimately, I think it comes down into this area here. So, you got the weekly reversal there. We'll again, we'll see how far it goes. On the bullish side, the depth of retracement was good. So, look, if it makes a higher low coming down below 4,000 or so, you got a quarterly options expiration in the middle of the month. So a middle of the month thing again, like we talked about the middle of August, the middle of September. September is the worst month of the year. There's little reason to think that this is going to resolve itself on the upside at this point and continue to go higher. Okay. Qs. Down there, see my cursor down there at the 20. Pivot low down there, 20 MA. So a grouping of different reference points. So holding this area around 315 or so, you can see, give or take, of course. I would suspect it's going to hold that today. Let's look at where that is on the weekly chart. I don't have this cursor. All right. See that bottoming tail bar? Of course you do. So when you see a higher time frame like this, and it's got a bottoming tail bar on there, you should look at that as that's where there's going to be support on a smaller time frame. And you can see how it lines up on the hourly there, right at that turning point. And that close to that pivot on the daily. So, and I point that out because maybe you're trading from a 30-minute or an hourly time frame as an intraday trader. You just like to use higher time frames. And just if you saw a pattern like that, you would know that there'd be some kind of a pivot low on the 5-minute or the 15-minute. Okay. And so this is all the way down here. So look, when I look at a pattern in the moment, it kind of makes me think, what could that evolve into the future as a in this market, this particular upward move, and so on. And probably some of you, as I said that, it created a thought, and you know what I'm thinking here, right? Because it would be pretty much a textbook head and shoulders top. Right? And so you look at, say, symmetry a few days, and then maybe later in the week, so, as it's coming down to support here, and it's a decent sized move from that high last week down to here, even if it pokes underneath it, which it probably does, pokes underneath it, the other concept that we have of a greater than 100% retracement, you get a rally back up. So with that in mind, and trading, whether it's this or thinking about SPX, well, if the Qs get down here, right, I'm showing the futures, but if you look at QQQ and they get down there and you get a tick extreme, and the ticks are probably going to open up at like minus 1,500 or so this morning, when a lot of things gap down. But maybe there's some kind of a retest, and then there'll be a rally up into this area. So kind of getting my thought process set as to what might evolve here as the day progresses. And then into the week, we'll see if this actually does set up. And then everybody be talking about a neckline and blah, blah, blah. And the next move down. What platform has tick? TC2000 has tick, Ty. It doesn't line up with exactly what other platforms. I think it's definitely something that you could use as a guide. It doesn't hit the same extremes as like what I use in eSignal, and probably I know TradeStation is a little less than eSignal, but it'll give you guidelines as to what you're seeing, and so I can bring it up on TC2000 during the day, and we can compare, and I can show it to you. So TC does have tick, and pretty much every other platform out there has. Might use different symbols, but they all have it. Okay, so there's my thoughts on that. Yeah, so after the morning, I'll bring up a chart and I'll set it up and I'll show you how to, how to use it and look at it. I'll even drop you a link with a video that I did on how to interpret it. All right. So Dow, everything's coming down, and so then we marked that off yesterday. So that topping tail minor support, it's on this little area right here of these overlapping opens and closes right there, 20 MA. So markets maybe head lower. Everybody's thinking lower, bearish. And what they often do is they go lower. And just looking at this chart, they'll probably pop back up, and this whole idea, what I just explained on the cues, and maybe get some morning rally here. So don't be so anxious to jump on the bear case and start shorting things without considering the charting as I'm explaining it here. So we've got the Russell down here just touching the 20 in this area of congestion. And so, while it's on the 20, look, moving averages are subjective, but we find them useful for different things. But you can see where my cursor is. There's nothing to the left there because those bars are overlapping each other in a violent way. Look at the daily chart, up, down, up. So the support is down here below the 20, right there. All right, Bitcoin, right? We were skeptical. Can Bitcoin play catch up? It isn't going to play any catch up here. And I think this is going to be a little gas on the fire to the downside here, because when this starts breaking below 20,000, look, you gotta, think that there are a ton of hopefuls that were like, oh, Bitcoin's coming back, I'm going to be a millionaire again and all of that. And it's just, forming out a pattern that it just looks like it's going to destroy some people if it clears that pivot low there on the weekly, which the relative weakness that it's formed here over this period of time while the market was going up. I think it's going to go through it. And then there's nothing to stop it from going down. So, if you're in it, keep that in mind. Or, a lot of people think, inevitably this is going to go up to a gazillion dollars, and, but maybe it does. Hopefully you live long enough. All right, crude oil, kind of holding here. The oil stocks are doing well. They best looking thing over the weekend could go higher, but even though crude oil's come down a lot. So let's see if that flips up. Silver, nothing. Going to support gold, nothing. And dollar's going up. Interest rates are green. Bearish stuff. It's everything we've been talking about that was going to come together, and here it is. So transports coming down. The only good thing is the size of the rally. Now, a lot of people have an opinion it's going down there and making new lows. I don't know. the depth of this retracement, historically would suggest it could be a retest, but if it does break the low, it shouldn't go much lower. But that's it. We'll see what the day brings. All yours, Dan.
Good morning. Yeah, I don't like big gaps on Monday. It kind of messes up unless you're the beneficiary of it in your open positions. But in terms of new positions, it messes up so many things. So we had a SPY. I was saying that I'm fully bear bias continuation under Friday's low, unless it got negated. And now the gap's too big. So we had a spider call spread, but it's capping down $5. We're not going to get our credit. A Microsoft call spread, and I actually had a harder time finding a lot of call spreads just because the monthly cycle is what's expired last week. And so then so many good bearish trades don't have weeklies, but we're in Twilio call spread. Look at this weekly. Remember I was pounding the table last week saying that looks like a total directional bearish consolidation in the downtrend. And the problem was it was down on support. So there wasn't a no-brainer entry. But we have a call spread there. Roku. There's another one. I don't know. So that was a nice sell setup and turn. The only one going against us here is BBBY. We sold $7.50 puts. Gap it down here a little bit. Meme stock. We just got to play the game of the hourglass until Friday. That's it. AMC, well, CNK. Well, it's not CNK, but whatever. One of the movie theaters is saying they're going bankrupt, Cinemax or whatever. And then so this is one that was a bearish pattern right there. Bearish consolidation, closing gap down. AMC, I don't know the deal, what's going on here, but that's gapping down huge, but they're doing a dividend through a B stock called Ape. I mean, is that a joke that they're calling it Ape? Because that's what they called the meme stocks, is apes. So I don't know. I don't know what to do with those things. We'll keep an eye on them. Yeah, FU2, Friday's low. Sure, Thomas. Yeah, let's say that one's not down as much, which you might say, oh, well, that's relative strength then. And yeah, but in terms of a new short, these are like the ones I like, Thomas, because it's not a big gap to $35. 38.20, it's only down 17 cents. So yeah, let's put that right there. I like it. Let's see what else they have here in the interest list. There's no earnings, so it's just my interest list here, and anything else that popped up this morning like this NVO. It's just a retest pattern is all after getting its head chopped off. But gapping up to 109 here, that's above the 200. So that's a put spread watch. Pet. This obviously was a SPAC gone wild. That's too wild for me. Look at those crazy bars. Here's another little guy gapping up almost $5. Gotta look at a bigger, and that's too wild for me. AXSM, this was one that we were looking at doing a put spread on Friday. That's a beautiful pattern. Or selling, the naked $35 puts. That's a pro gap, wide range igniting. As of right now, it might turn into an inside bar. That would give us a 1, 2, 3 continuation for tomorrow. I'm going to put that in a window. This is I mean, it's holding incredibly well in the market's gap down. So that looks really good. GCT recent IPOs all over the place. There's that CNK, Amazon we talked about. I mean AMC. IIPR. When I was doing the video, we were short $80 puts on this last week. Took our money, and then I said, "Oh, it's kind of a little bull flag right now." And look, it's actually opening flat here. That's the company that leases land to marijuana growers. We are an MJ. Such a disappointment. This marijuana has been one of the most difficult sectors to trade. We're in it, the ETF trader with a big stop way down here. So we're still in it, but it looks horrible. This was also a trade last week. This was a bullish gap on earnings. And now we got 4 inside bars. Look at all these tails. So I have an alarm at 33.60. That has a price void. If it takes out these highs, then that's relative strength. I think it's going. Duo Limbo. Yeah, I don't know why the juice on this thing is incredibly high. We can sell the $70 puts way the heck down here. So I'll keep an eye on that. We did have puts that we took our profit last week, and it doesn't have weeklies though. All right, Morgan Stanley with banks being extended. This was on the weekend list for a call spread. We'll see what it does. Fizzler, just a lot of extended patterns with bearish turns are all over the place. So this is a call spread idea. NU is actually a long idea over Friday's high. Just because I don't think he'll trigger, but it's a buy setup and it'd be red bar ignored. Oh, nice, David. Yeah, they both look good. HLN. Why am I looking at you? I'm looking at you because it had a positive Barron's mention. That's why. So there's no pattern, but maybe Barron's has this one right, and Friday is an all-time low. So let's see. Barron's also was pumping PNC, but no pattern. BABA. It's actually holding strong, but Friday's low is a call spread. A number of these sectors are all toppy with bearish terms. XLY, XLK, I was going to give a call spread, but oh, I did. Yeah, it's in there. XLK is in there already. SMHs I was going to give, but it wasn't enough credit and also a bunch of earnings, but so many topping patterns here. XHB I was going to do, but inadequate credit. XLU's been the strongest sector. So this would just be one to fade, 30-minute low. UNH, gapping, so you get a little breakout failure there now on Friday. Banks, look lower. All right, so see, I was going to give. All right, so we had to cancel this. All right, I got a number of alarms going off here. XLF cancel. Because we were gonna do long puts under Friday's low, and the gap's too big. Gap messed up the trade, and so that's where I'm a little disappointed to do all our weekend homework. And yep, tick negative is bigger than negative 1600. All right, so this was a short. So Greg, I'm going to need your input on a couple of these. Like, how do you want to manage them in terms of new trades? The ZTS was a short under Friday's low.
I mean, it's not a huge gap.
Well, that's why we're talking here. So this 5-minute low will go.
No, no. You know, these people, we've had this discussion. Who knows if they can, be Johnny on the spot to watch something intraday?
All right, so what should a
Just
subscriber
short
do
it.
right now?
Just whatever. If they can get a better price, I mean, it's a short. So wherever the stop's going to be, that's the whole idea with a swing stop. Whatever is happening intraday, it's going to evolve to where the bigger time frame is going to take care of it. That's the assumption. If someone is in front of a screen, that's another story.
Okay. All right, so TSE is another one, so that one's good to go too. Same TSE, that's good to go. FL was a call spread. All right, so I'll say that one's good to go if you get the juice. BMY alarm just went off. Wow, that's relative strength. Wow. So that BMY is a call spread. Wow, look at this little, oh, your food tube that looked like a short is actually rallying now. All right, so BMY, I think I gave long calls. Yeah, by September. 9/16/75 calls. All right, see now it's spready. So let's just do stock instead. All right, so BMY's ago. McGraw, let's look at put spreads on this too. Let's see how spready they are. Yeah, they're spreading. Yeah. 74s, 20, well, 22.44. Okay, I didn't give that as a put spread. IYT, Greg, as you know, we're in the ETF trader. Low alarm went off. XOP. Russell, we actually stopped out of that break even on Friday. I didn't like the gap down. And so we kept EOG. But yeah, I see oil 15-minute chart selling off here. So, the original stop was, far away. I'd try to just get out on a bounce, I guess. All right, we've got a shallow bounce there. All right, so let me post these shorts, ZTS and TSE. BMY all hit. Let me check. Wow, this MJ, I can't believe what a dog you are.
That's why I only did a third.
Man, oh man, oh man, you are such a frigging dog.
One of my neighbors, Dan, one of them, I don't know exactly what he does, but he's somehow involved with promoting marijuana. He knows all about marijuana, right? Whatever. And so I asked him about all these stocks, why they're getting crushed. And he says, well, there's just so much supply, which you would make sense. And he said, whatever marijuana he said he could buy a year or something ago, a pound, which would cost like $3,000 or whatever he was buying. He says now he can buy it for like $600. So out of the reasoning, I guess, things got overdone, which we can see on the charts.
Roku low alarm. Let's just move stuff the day's high. Blue day trade stop low for it's not a daily bullish pattern. It's a bounce into an ugly WRB. Bomba's showing relative strength here, but I still get my alarm set on this Futu. No pattern, but not interested in shorting anymore. Cat, I said if it could get above the highs, but I don't think it will. I'll just leave it for now. A ball. All right, ball actually 60.73. Ball's 4 cents away from triggering, so that's still good to go. Let me look at these new trade ideas. All right, so we canceled Spider and Microsoft. FL. All right, FL is good to go. If you get filled. OIH. Has to get over Thursday's high, which it's not going to. Same with below. I'll just leave it for now. Baba left it. MS. We got to cancel because the gap's too big. We're not going to get the credit. Bizzler. Bizzler's okay if we get the credit. So let's Florida. So Florida, we wanted 40, 40, 40, 44.
Fair, that blue is not a great pattern, but if for day trade, the 200 is right up above on the daily, and there's a deep retracement. But if you're scalping something, that's different. It usually isn't, Steve. I don't even look at it anymore. Square has negated that gap and going through some resistance here on the intraday. That's strong. Well, AMC got crushed.
Yeah, but that's because of, I was talking about a pre-market. That's because of, they have a spin-off called EAP that the shareholders are getting.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Roku took out the high. Go ahead and take your money. We've milked it. The puts on AMC are 0 by $10. This is a first. It's a $9.50 short strike. And if you want to buy a put, you owe them 50 cents of intrinsic value. A friggin' joke. That is a total joke right there. VXX. Yeah, they don't have to be, Stephen, because you have to know what they are. Sure, they're both volatility instruments. Yeah, that was a closing breakout on Friday. It's percent wise up a lot though, Sanjay. All right, this NVO I mentioned needs to pull in. Let's cancel BABA too. It's Chinese. That's relative strength today. I don't want to mess with that. Oh, IYT, we had a call spread, which is fine if it gets filled. EOG buying stock, Friday's high, ZTS. All right, ZTS triggered. Hey, Ty, well, yeah, I just wanted to see how juicy the puts were on the gap down. But the problem is I was yelling about the spreads are ludicrous. Yeah, whenever there's fear and volatility and the market makers, they step away and they just put a ridiculous quote out and say, fine, hit me if you want. And FRPT. All the fangs looking lower. Amazon. Let's just close it here. We're at our target. Hmm, it's not jumping out at me, Sanjay. What are you thinking? I honestly don't even know if you're talking long or short. I mean, it's extended a lot here on the 15. It's right here. It's on the 20. If it's short, I would need a bounce. I'd need a better entry. Yeah, the oil sectors sure gave it up, but XLF looks lower. So I'm assuming you're talking short, which is the direction that I would want to be trading in. Hey, look at our BBBY. Um, we're short $7.50 puts. That's a nice recovery. We're actually still got a small. Wow, the juice is still so incredibly high. Man, the $7, $6.50 puts are 25 cents. That is a lot. There's a lot of fear of volatility in this thing, but let's see how it closes, David. I'll add to it. I put it in all three of my accounts. But I'll add to it. If it closes strong, I'm not doing it right now. Hey, Greg, you still got YouTube on, you know?